Hey guys, Jaden Irwin here with Little Sticks. Welcome back to the bonus part of the Astro crash course. I know it's been a while since the last part, and really that's because I was pretty much done with that course, but a lot has changed, and also not a lot has changed since then. Astro version 1.0 has released, so if you go to astro.build, you can kind of click on this read launch post button here, and you can read all about the new things that Astro version 1.0 has. And really, I just wanted to do this part because I know I've had a few people reach out in the comments saying, hey, some things have changed, or just wondering, hey, what has changed in the version 1.0 of Astro? So I wanted to cover that, and really what we're going to do is take the code from the last part and then just upgrade it to Astro version 1.0. And hopefully that will cover all of the new things. I'm also going to add in a couple of cool things in there too, but let's go ahead and get started. So I've already got my server here running the code from part 4 of the Astro crash course. The first thing we're going to do is, you can probably guess it, npm I, and then we're going to do -d, I'm going to call it a dev dependency, and then we're going to do astro at latest. So what that's going to do, if we go to the package.json, you're going to see that Astro was on 22.8 as of recording this course on the last part. It's going to upgrade to version 1.0. And the package.json doesn't always update. There it goes. It doesn't always update right away. Sometimes you have to give it a second. But yeah, so 1.1.3. So I know 1.0 released a little bit ago. They're already hard at work on the next iterations and versions, but we're going to be on 1.1.3 on this. So if we just run this, let's do npm start, just like we have in the past. It's going to die right away. The server is going to be like, hey, you don't have anything set up correctly. Astro renderers are now integrations. Update your configuration and install new dependencies. So we're going to go to this astro.config.mjs file. This is the old config setup. Not a whole lot has changed around what it looks like inside of the config, but we are going to, let's just go ahead and delete all of that. And we're going to replace it with something that looks like this. I'm just going to copy from my notes here. So import define config from astro/config. And if you run on the Astro site, if you run npm create astro at latest, then it is going to bootstrap and set up an example or a minimal starter for you that has all of this config set up. This is really just because we had a project that was before version 1.0. And then we're going to do an export default, and it's going to export that define config function. And then we're going to do site. That's still going to be, let's do example.com. And then we're going to keep that Vite SSR piece that we had in there before. That's really just for the Astro icon package, this Vite SSR external. It's for the Astro icon package that we were using and still will use on this setup. And then the next part, I'm actually going to show you this really cool thing that Astro has implemented since the crash course on the last part. We're going to do npx astro add. And the two integrations that we had was Svelte and React. So we're going to do npx astro add React. What this will do, it's pretty cool. It's going to say, hey, we're going to make the following changes to your config file. They're going to add this React integration, and they're also going to import this React from Astro.js React. So that part should look about the same as it did before. And it's also going to ask, hey, are you okay with us installing these dependencies? We're going to say yes. And there you go. You'll see that the config already updated, import React, and then integrations React. So really cool that you can just do this npx astro add command, and you can just add the integrations that they have set up. If you go to Astro's website too, you can see all of the integrations that they have. Some of these work with the add command, some of them do not. as far as I know, like Astro icon is not an integration, it's a component. But it does show up here in the integrations because it is kind of like from the creator, one of the creators of Astro. But yeah, npm I Astro icon on those. But integrations would be like these framework integrations. So we're going to do Svelte as well. So let's do npx Astro add, and we're going to do Svelte. And it's going to be the same as the last one, a couple of installs and a slight change to your config, and you should be all set to go with the renderers. They used to call them renderers, now they're integrations. Just terminology change there. So that is really it for this to start running. So let's do npm start and see if we get a running server now. Cool. So Astro version 1.1.3. We've got our local right here. Let's go ahead and open that. And there we go. We've got our server running. We've got images here. And we've got welcome to Astro. Now, what is it saying in our terminal? So astro.resolve is deprecated. So this is where the API changes are going to come in. Let's go to the pages, index.astro. And what we're going to do is look for astro.resolve. So you can see that we've got astro.resolve and then images. They've even got a little deprecated strike through, which is nice. So it's showing that this function that we were using is no longer available to us. To replace that, what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to kill our server. Let's do this npx Astro add. And Astro has added full-blown image support. So if you're coming from Gatsby or you're coming from Next.js, both of those frameworks have image components, and you can essentially toss an image at it, and it will optimize the image. It'll change its format to whatever you set it to, make sure that the width is correct for the viewport size that the user is on. So really, really cool that they're adding this Astro image integration. So I did npx Astro add image, and it's going to do Astro.js image, just like it did for the other integrations. And that one might take a second. It's a little bit larger than the other ones, I believe, just because it's doing a lot. Surprisingly, images are really complex. So it's really cool that they've added this integration that just handles the difficult part of images for you. And if you want to learn more about that, go to Astro's themes integrations. Let's go to official. I think image should be in here. Let's search for it. Astro.js image, there it is. And you can read through the documentation on it, which I would recommend. There's two components that you can use. There's the image component and there's the picture component. What we're going to use is just the image component. I'm just going to go ahead and copy our import here and paste it. So import image from Astro.js image components. And then we're going to scroll down here, and this img with this local image, we're going to replace that with this image component from Astro. And it's not source astro.resolve, it's actually source equals import, just like that. And then you're importing the file path to that local image. So now if we run this, we should no longer have that astro.resolve error. And there's our image. So if we inspect this, we should see our image, and it's got a little bit of extra stuff on the image here too, so it's optimizing it for us, which is really cool. The picture element, the picture component that they have, does some other really cool things, which I would encourage you to play with it. There's this picture source, and then you do your import just like we did on the image. But then you can set widths. So if you want different specific widths for the image, then you can just go ahead and toss those in, and it will automatically generate different widths of that image. Specific aspect ratio. There's even formats on there too. So like this AVIF, JPEG, PNG, WebP. Super cool that it generates this optimized image format of the image. Keep in mind, the one caveat of this is it is going to increase your build times if you have a lot of images on your site, because you are telling Astro when you're building the site to go and optimize all of those images. And if there's hundreds of images, you can imagine it's going to be on the machine to go ahead and optimize all of those images manually each time you run a build. So keep that in mind. It is going to increase build times a little bit if you have a lot of images. I think worth the trade-off of having to manually optimize those images yourself and do picture elements, but you know, everything comes with pros and cons. So that's the Astro Image integration though. Cool. The next piece here, we're going to go through components. So if we go to our components page, you'll notice that we've got our components running, and I think the lit one is a little bit broken. Let's go to this components.astro, and notice that we've got style, lang, CSS. Some of that has changed a little bit. I don't really have time to go through that. Definitely look through the documentation for the SCSS and SAS setup. We're just going to delete that because we're not really using it in this case. But you'll notice that we've got our special button JSX, special button 2.svelte, and all of those are right there. So special button client load right there. That looks good. One thing though, see this type module astro.resolve, and you probably have noticed in our terminal that we've got an error there as well. It's saying, hey, astro.resolve is deprecated, just like it did for the image that we were using locally too. So what we're going to do is take this import, I'm going to cut it out, and we're going to get rid of this whole script tag. And what we're going to do is the script tag up here, import, and we want quotes. So import component special button dot ts. So Astro will figure out that this is a script tag that we want running on the client side, and it should. There you go, it's already figured it out. We've got this lit component here, special button. If I click on it, there we go. We've got client-side JavaScript running. There is a lit integration. If you want to figure out the lit integration, by all means, you can go ahead and set that up. I've used it myself, and it actually works pretty well. There are some kind of caveats to that, though. It doesn't quite work like most lit components would work, where you just import this bare module import and start using it. It does work a little bit differently, so you'll know more what I mean if you read through the documentation. But that's really what I wanted to show on this is, hey, your script tag with a wait or astro.resolve has been replaced with this script tag with an import. So now our next piece here, let's go through our blog. All of our components are working. Our blog, astro.fetch content, has been replaced with astro.glob. So if we go to our pages, blog, let's go to our page.astro that we created. We're going to go over here. Let's again get rid of this style tag that we're not using. What you're going to see here is it's got that strike through again, astro.fetch content. That's no longer a thing, it's astro.glob. And then we're going to await that. So that is asynchronous, right? So await astro.glob, and our sorted posts still should all work. I know we've got kind of some errors here. It does not exist on type. I think someone left a helpful comment actually about this value of not being necessary. I don't have really any time to go through that right now, but you might be able to clean up some of this sorted posts code too. So astro.glob, let's see if this works now. Oh, RSS, that's another thing that is now an integration. You could kill your server and go ahead and run astro add RSS and go through that setup. I'm just going to comment it out right now. Let's see, transform failed, unexpected. Let's get rid of this RSS. And what do we have here? It might have been what I commented, breaking things. I don't think I went far enough. Okay, sweet. So this is where most of our time is going to be spent on this blog migration. So blogs have changed, especially if you're doing markdown blogs like we were. I won't go into all of the details, but if you go to the documentation and you go to Markdown and MDX, you can kind of learn about what has changed around Markdown. Astro has sort of moved away from this custom setup with Markdown, and they're encouraging developers to use MDX if they are trying to import components into their Markdown. If you have a really basic Markdown file, it will just go ahead and convert that for you. But if you're trying to do more complex things inside of your Markdown, like using React components inside of your Markdown, or Svelte components, or Lit components, or Astro components in your Markdown, then you should use MDX. So that's going to be another integration. We're going to go through that. Let's kill our server. We're going to do npx astro add MDX. And again, it's going to ask about these things: Astro.js, MDX, install dependencies. It's going to do that. And the reason I'm installing MDX and not just using the basic Markdown is we actually are doing import special button, this React component. And then really this other one doesn't have that, so it would be okay technically to just be a Markdown. But we're just going to go ahead and switch both of these over to MDX. So this setup piece here is also gone. It's just layout. And then you're going to point it to the layout. Let's grab this import. And imports in MDX can go right underneath the fences. We're going to leave that there. It's probably still going to be in a broken state though. Let's do npm start. Oh, let's go to our other one too. We are also going to fix that to layout. And we want to get rid of semicolons. Semicolons don't really live inside of the fences. That's going to break things if we leave it. So let's go back here. This is going to be MDX. We're going to get rid of RSS. Clean that up. Now let's go to blog. And you'll notice that we've got our blog here, right? So we've got a bullet point, but it's still kind of broken. So if we go over here to our page, what has kind of changed is it's not post.url, post.title. It's actually post.frontmatter.title. And the reason we're doing that is it's passing the post down, and then it has the front matter, right? This front matter in the markdown. So we have to drill into the front matter to get to the title. So you'll notice here we've got our example blog. If I click on that, there you go. It goes to our /blog/post1 tutorials. Those are also going to be broken because we were using astro.fetch content. We could probably go and fix that real quick too. Glob. So await astro.glob, MDX. I don't know if I'm going to have time to fix all of these categories on camera. I might have to speed it up. Let's see. So front matter. And same here, post.front matter. Going to drop down the same thing again, post.front matter .title. That goes to our blog. And now if you see here, we've got click me. That's our React button. And if I click on that, it's running React right there inside of the MDX file. So really, honestly, a pretty easy migration. But there are definitely some changes to the way that Markdown and MDX all work together. So just be aware of those. Read through the documentation. It is very good documentation. I'm not going to lie. It's very thorough, kind of explains why they made the changes that they did. And the gotchas are there in the documentation as well. So that is really it for the post.front matter. Yeah, I think we're all set. If we run this, let's do npm run build. Let's see if we can do a successful build. Something might still be broken. Could not load. Oh, and I think I was running into this when I was prepping. So what I found, and this might be a bug, maybe I just need to report it, but we've got this import special button from component special button.jsx. And then down here we've got our special button client load. So this is a React component that's telling it to run client-side JavaScript, and it's running React in that component after you build it, right? I think I found this out. So if we go here to create a new file, special button.astro, this is like a workaround to get the build to work. So if you run into this with your MDX files, you might end up having to do this. But let's do import special button from special button.jsx. And this is just going to be kind of like a wrapper as an Astro component, client load. So special button client load. And I think that's just a TypeScript error. That still should be valid. Special button.jsx, that looks good. Oh, I think we've got to, let's do click me again. Yeah, it was mad because we didn't pass down text to the button. So let's do this in post 1. We're going to get rid of this special button click me. And you know what? Let's actually, we're just going to remove the complexity of it. I just want to show this workaround here. So special button, we're going to close that, import special button from, and then we're just going to do special button.astro. So our wrapper special button Astro file. Let's do npm start, make sure it works in the server. There we go, we've got a React component working. If we do npm run build, we've got another fetch content living somewhere. I feel like, yeah, it's this one right here. And we're going to do mdx post dot front matter. Category.name, category.slug. Okay. Categories, let's just go to the base categories page. That's where it was failing. Perfect. So that page is working now too. And make sure I did mdx. Okay. So let's do npm run build. What else do we got? An image. So if we go to our index.astro, width, I think it's because this is actually supposed to be an object and not like the HTML 300 pixels type thing. Yeah, so just like that, width 300. And there we go, optimizing one image completed, and we've got a successful build. So that's really it for migrating this code base to Astro version 1.0. It took, what, 20 minutes, roughly? I mean, I know I'm explaining things too, so anyone who's going quickly through this could probably do it in 10 minutes. Yeah, Astro version 1.0, not a whole lot of changes, but there definitely are some changes, and some good changes, I would say, too. You know, this import makes sense to me. It's not like this strange astro.fetch or astro.import. It's just an import, right? And then you're telling it how to get to that file. So really cool. If you have any questions, definitely leave a comment below. That's really what I wanted to go through in this video, is explaining how to take that older code base on the part 4 and move it to Astro 1.0. Hopefully that covers all your questions of what's different in 1.0 as well. I know some people that have started out maybe watching this course a while ago, they just kind of had that question. So yeah, we've got a successful build and we're ready to ship a 1.0 version of this. So thank you so much, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.